I have been here.
The Grey Goose, Adventures of a Modern Robin Hood.
Well, my recent adventure with one Bernie Casson, smash-and-grab artist, in particular brought me very closely in touch with the police, especially Inspector Ebenezer Ford. I've outwitted Ford on a few occasions, but he's nobody's fool, and for the moment I'm compelled to hold him in extreme respect, for he's rather too hot on the trail for my comfort. That affair of the diamond, which I still possess, was a very close thing. I know that Benny's almost certain that I'm his bête noire, the Grey Goose.
You'll have terribly hard work proving it, Rolly.
Yes, of course. Surmise and suspicion must stand up to proof, and old Ben hasn't one iota of that very necessary factor so far.
Except a collection of grey goose feathers. Those you've left here and there from time to time.
My panache.
Your what?
Don't you know? Oh, obviously you don't. So I'm going all erudite on you. That's swank in most languages.
Oh.
To have one's plume shorn off one's helmet in the old days of chivalry was a knight's disgrace or indignity. He lost his panache, or feather. With it he lost caste, face if you like. Thus when knights were bold, panache actually stood for a knight's pride, his innate chivalry, his ideals, all that.
And 1066.
Thank you, Barbara. I am now back to earth.
Sorry, but I'm just bursting with news. Beautiful news.
It's fine. What is the news?
It's father.
What? Have they wakened up at last?
Yes. You remembered how you cornered Bellew, and Mr. Howard Warren, by your help, managed to take the papers he'd found and deliver them to your friend Hugh Taverner at the Treasury that night?
Yes, by Jove.
Well, listen to this in tonight's paper. The Crown, upon receiving certain documents concerning the ramifications of syndicates controlled by one Brian Faversham, has decided that to an extent there has been a miscarriage of justice, in that the said Brian Faversham, sentenced to 12 years penal servitude for defalcation and misrepresentation, was in many respects the victim of strong capital interests. These interests, represented by some very well-known men, manipulated affairs in such manner as to place the blame on Brian Faversham. The Crown has decided to reopen the case, and it is hinted in many quarters that some of our biggest stock and share operators may not get off scot-free. The strangest aspect of this affair is that several of these men seem to have suffered in other ways. 3 have suicided, some have recently faced bankruptcy, and some have abandoned the wealth and ease they were enjoying and fled the country.
Is that all?
No, listen to this. In well-informed circles, there is a whisper that in every case, that elusive character in our midst, the fabulous Grey Goose, was instrumental in the downfall and disappearance of these men. Note, the editor places no credence in this statement, and although compelled to print same, regards it as high-flown.
Oh, does he? Well, we believe it, don't we, Barbara?
I hardly know what to say to you, Rolly.
Hmm?
You scared these men. You helped Mr. Warren to get the papers to the right quarter when they were almost stolen from him.
Tut, tut, now.
You did. And if a retrial is ordered, it'll be because of you. Thanks, Rolly.
Think nothing of it. Now, referring to the editor's note.
Yes. How dare he?
That's right. How dare he? Who's he to belittle the Grey Goose?
Yes, who is he?
He has impugned my panache.
Definitely.
The dirty dog.
The ink-slinging so-and-so.
Exactly. I completely agree with the so-and-so, and would even like to stick an adjective in front of it. But if your so-and-so means what my so-and-so means, that's low enough.
Oh. And you're going to declare war on our editor?
Definitely. But first, I must know his name. Let's see the paper. The Evening Gazette. Should be easy. I'll pay him a call in the very near future, probably in person. Once before, Barbara, we had the great pleasure of putting a night editor in his place.
My word, we did.
Of course we did. This time we shall put a real slap-up managing editor in his. I'll squeeze him in his printing presses till his veins run blue-black ink. Wait on. We'll ring the blighter up. What's his name, remember?
Herbert Annadale.
Good.
Hello? Gazette?
Listen, hireling, slave of the ink. I wish to speak to the managing editor.
Rubbish. Try the King of Siam.
Listen, funny face. I even might do that when I've time. For the moment, however, Annandale will do.
Annandale? For heaven's sake. Whoever you are, hang up. Mr. Annandale doesn't speak to mad contributors. If you got news or something, phone it through to the desk.
The desk? That abode of blue pencil and blots? No friend. Mr. Annandale or no one?
All right, it's no one.
Wait on, impatient. Just say to the exclusive one that the Grey Goose is calling.
The great... I say, is this a gag?
No, Sonny. Now, stop shining that stool and transfer this call to one Annandale, pronto. That means quick.
Yes? You there?
Waiting. How is Mr. Annandale?
He will speak to you. Plugging you across, sir. The caller on your line, sir.
Now, look here, I'm not in the habit of answering calls from outside. I have a staff to attend to such matters.
How splendid. You know, Mr. Annandale, I've long wanted a job like that.
Yes, well, I'll give you 1 minute. You say you are this Grey Goose idiot? Well, I'm interested.
Good.
Merely as a journalist. I do think in his very limited orbit he provides news. Thus, as I said, I'm interested. Now speak your piece and get off my phone.
Right. Mr. Annandale, you added an editorial note to a report tonight concerning a Crown inquiry into the facts concerning one Brian Faversham.
I did, or my sub-editor did, upon my direction.
Thank you. You practically denied the fact that the Grey Goose had uncovered facts that led the Crown to the point of reopening the case of the said Brian Faversham.
A lot of nonsense.
Permit me to disagree. Sir Thomas Maybury went bankrupt. I'm afraid I burgled his safe.
Oh, you did?
I did, and I sent his company directors most illuminating data. He was a director of the Brian Faversham syndicate. Remember, the said Faversham, now in jail for 12 years?
Go on, go on.
Another of the syndicate shot himself.
Oh, did you tell him to?
Roughly. Only roughly, mind you. Then another and another. Then one man absconded to South America. 2 others are lost on the continent.
And you claim to have engineered all this?
But definitely. I seem to have the knack. And if you look up the records, dear Mr. Managing Editor, you'll find that my now famous Grey Goose feather figured most prominently in every case.
A lot of theatrical nonsense. A blind to gull the public. To persuade the morons that the Grey Goose is a mysterious avenger and an anonymous benefactor to lost causes.
Thanks. I now know your attitude, Mr. Managing Editor. This call is now finished, but before I use up my last few seconds, let me tell you something.
I haven't time to listen.
But you will. Just watch yourself, sir. Grey Goose feathers, frail as they are, can break a man. Break a man. Did you hear me? Good day, sir.
Oh, he doesn't sound very convinced, does he?
No, he does not. And that's given me an idea. Do you believe in ghosts, Barbara?
I don't think so.
Do you think this twerp Annandale would?
The last man in the world, I'd say.
Bet on it?
Well, yes.
You'll lose, so no bet's taken. Now listen, belief or not, skepticism or not, I'm going to haunt this bloke.
Haunt him?
Yes, from dawn to dawn. This fellow is going to live, eat, sleep on a diet of goose feathers. And this is how we do it. Listen, wench, and learn your part. Get Charlie Austin down here, pronto. He's in this. And naturally, I wasn't present myself in all that follows. But my faithful Charlie and Barbara, turn and turn about, reported to me day by day. While in the meantime, I took a bit of a hand myself to pile on the agony. Firstly, Charlie and I visited Annandale's very important-looking abode in an exclusive road in Hampstead. Go easy, Charlie. He's got about 3 servants at the least.
Nothing to it, Mr. Hicks. Oh, there's the front door open. Now what?
Nobody about. We've got to find his own room.
That'll be upstairs, I reckon.
Right, lead on then.
Cool, cop the odour. Otter of roses. God, Jiminy. That reminds me when I was in a sweet dame's place.
Keep your murky past out of this. It's his wife's room. The word is attar of roses, not otter. However, we've no quarrel with Mrs. Annandale, so let's try the next room.
This is okay. Boots, pyjamas, and cigar butts. No blinking attar about this.
All right, touch nothing. Shove a feather in the looking-glass hinge.
How many love tokens do we leave here?
Several. One in his pyjama case, Right. Now the electric light switch. There. Good. That's half a dozen. Come on, hop it.
Nobody's stirring. Funny.
Mr. and Mrs. A, I was told, went to the theatre.
Oh, blimey. Only hope the show runs overtime.
Next door's the dining room.
Not a sound from the servants yet.
Yet? I'll be most annoyed if there is. That'll mean some screeches and whatnot. Hello? Supper tray all laid for two. Excellent.
Here. What about a feather for supper, eh?
Excellent. Put one in each sandwich, Charlie.
Oh, blimey, we'll choke him before we're done. Right, do you think I could scoff one?
I think you could, but you won't. Listen. Front door.
Oh, good show, wasn't it?
Yes, but I'm tired. I told Beacon to leave a drink and some sandwiches.
Behind the curtains, quick.
Yes, very good show. I'm rather fed up with ballets. Prefer the turns. I mean the individual ones.
I'll pour you a drink. Whiskey?
Yes, please.
Oh, now, isn't that trying?
What?
Dozens and dozens of times I've told the servants not to use feather dusters on the glass and china. Look, there's a feather caught in the stopper of the whiskey decanter.
Oh, feathers? Nothing to that, surely.
Except disobedience.
Here, have a sandwich.
You take one. There's smoked salmon.
Smoked. Good grief! There's confounded. There's a feather in my sandwich. What sort of damn silly joke is this, Myra?
My dear, how should I know? After all, the servants don't dust the sandwiches with feather dusters. There's no feather...
Yeah, I know all about this, my dear. It's no joke. It's a trick played by a very tricky gentleman. Come on upstairs. We'll forego the supper.
So far, so good, Charlie. Listen when he gets upstairs. Quiet now.
What the devil? Myra, where are you? Myra! Feathers all over my room. Feathers everywhere. What? This is the work of that idiot.
On which cue, Charlie, we quietly make our exit.
Not so fast, gentlemen. This, I think, needs a little explanation.
Oh, crikey.
For once, Rolland Fletcher must feel nonplussed. His feather offensive has broken down. But as of yore, he'll surely find a way out for the Grey Goose.